Welcome to day 11 of this brand communications course right here on YouTube. 21 days for you to become a stronger brand communicator, whether it's for your brand or your clients, if you're an entrepreneur building one in public. If you're a student of media and communications, this is the place for you. Why? What you're going to get out of the 21 days is to begin to think like a brand communicator, to really not only create that muscle, but if you already have it, that muscle where you are reflexive in your thinking when you're dealing with complexity, you just make it super strong. So that's what we're doing here. I am Serena with more than 20 years. Is it 2025? It might even be 25 years within media and comms. I'm a chartered public relations practitioner, and I'm also doing my postgrad in systems thinking, which has leveled up my own strategic thinking so much. And it's what I am here to share. Let's get to day 11, where I'm using 7 of my strategic zones as lenses to look at what we've been covering for the past 10 days. On day 11, we're looking at media literacy and zeitgeist awareness. No whiteboard today. I want to talk to you. We're going to have some prompts. I have a few questions that I'm going to have us consider. Let me know in the comments. Do the usual, which is writing your notes, having a think. Let's go. So, the thing about being a strong communicator, a strong strategic thinker, especially one who has to think up solutions on the spot in a reputational crisis communications situation, is being the person who has their finger on the pulse. People in communications, in comms, have their finger on the pulse. What does that mean? They are aware of their audience sentiment. They have a good gist of what matters in their community of interest, the landscape of sentiment, the zeitgeist awareness, what's going on right now. It's so that you can anticipate what sentiment would be if you do A, B, or C, but it's also for you to spot opportunities, spot risks. The important thing about being a strong communicator is to be able to spot patterns early. We were talking about patterns in the previous episode. Being media literate is also spotting those political scandals. There could be platform collapses, the platform that you use to communicate with your audience, a controversy within your stakeholder community. There are predictable things that usually happen. Cancellation, social media goes crazy, and your industry, your area isn't exempt. It happens to anyone. It's as usual patterns, just different players, right? Different stakeholders. It's very unique to you, but the risk of it is still there. And being media literate means that you can spot things early before it arrives in your domain, and then it becomes a problem and an issue for you. So, if we apply what we've done in week 1, where we think about your North Star, your core values, holding on to those, always being mindful of those, having them at the center of your strategic planning will put you in good stead. Stand you in good stead, stand you in good stead. Why is that? Because when you are having to deal with these kinds of crises, these kinds of issues, what you're having to do is build a narrative or inject what you want to inject into a dominant narrative about you. And so when we are doing that, when we are doing it ethically, and when we are thinking up words, sentences, statements, speeches, speaking in an interview, having talking points ready, going on a TikTok live, in an Instagram live, a YouTube stream, all of these things, we have to remind ourselves of our core values, our North Star. We've got to do our risk readiness, which is what the previous episode was about. And then we've got to be fundamentally aware, significantly aware of what the dominant narratives are. And you may find that what is acceptable to say shifts constantly. And when you are doing your risk readiness, your planning of what you're going to say, you've got to test out the different statements that you are preparing. You've got to look at, is this going to work tomorrow? It might work today. What are the sensitivities around this? So because what is acceptable to say will shift all the time. And we know this because social media has now very transparently and visibly and sonically created cultural moments that are being produced all the time. If it's not a major stakeholder, it could be a simple issue, like a simple occurrence of a social media user memeing, making a meme of something you've said or someone within your ecosystem has said, and then you have a cultural moment. And that's why we have to try to respond when necessary, not too late, and not be too obvious about what we want to say and how we want to say it. What do I mean by that? Desperation. Audiences. This is a personal take, if you like. This is completely open for debate. But audiences can sense when a brand is communicating in a desperate fashion. They're really trying to get a point across, they're hammering it away, they are on every platform, they're going to every podcast host, or they're going on every single social media channel. And when you do that, it can look like you are doing too much damage control, or you're trying to control the narrative too much. You're desperate. And that kind of desperation can come across as too reactive. When you're too reactive, you lose your audience. And so that's why I said you've got to hold on to your awareness around your North Star, your core values. Keep that in mind all the time whilst you draft your statements. You know that what is acceptable to say will constantly shift, and you've done the work already on your mission statement, your core values, your North Star. Let that always be the bedrock, be the foundation of your script. It's your safety within this landscape of constant noise. And so doing too much means overdoing it. You don't want to overdo it. I hope this isn't too bitty, only because I lost all video and audio feeds and had to restart or pick up where I left off. And so the energy may have shifted slightly because it took me out for about 5 or 10 minutes. I wasn't able to continue with my same enthusiasm, but you know, it's okay. I switched the tone up, and that's a good example of how you switch your tone. I'm still saying the same things to you, but now I'm trying to paint the picture and get this very important bit across to you, because you can do a lot of prep and then you could lose people by being too scripted, being too reactive. Are you, in any given complex situation, riding a wave or riding the wave of sentiment? Are you being intentional about trying to challenge the narrative? Or are you deliberately being silent? These are 3 different ways that you could respond to sentiment, to what your industry's audience community is saying about you, about what you offer, about the domain that you're in. You could just be playing it safe, riding the wave. Let others let others determine things for you because it's safer. What does that make you look like though? Will your audiences or your segments, will they appreciate that? Is there some dissonance going on? Did you position yourself as a leader? If so, are you countering the narrative? Are you being proactive about challenging what is being said or done? Are you trying to add something different to the mix? Are you trying to advance the conversation? Or are you just being avoidant and ghosting, leaving them on red, being strategically silent? I should do a whole other episode about how brands leave you on red. Do you enjoy it? I certainly don't. I don't like it when they go silent. So, what I got you to do in this episode is to think about the media, sentiment, zeitgeist awareness as not being something that's passive but very active, and that you need to be tuned in so that you can recognize patterns more effectively and so that you're never on the back foot. It requires you to reflect, definitely, but consume from different offerings, different channels, different narratives. Really expand your media diet around your industry, your area, so that you don't end up coming across as if you're not entirely aware of how people feel or what they think about your industry, about the thing that you are most passionate about, or what you offer, which is a real core offering within your area. You can't, if you're an accountant and you're not, number one, up to speed with new changes in tax policy, but then also you're not aware of what the left, the centre, and the right politically think about those new tax policies, then how are you going to connect with your audience? If you are in communications and you talk about brand communications, yet you don't tune in to media and politics in order to understand how people use communications to communicate much more effectively. Gosh, I was trying to not say communicate again. And that's, you see, that's why in my ecosystem I have my media and politics commentary channel, and I have this and other offerings, and they all form part of an ecosystem. They reinforce each other. I'm definitely not out of the loop. I'm very much in the loop of British politics, American politics, as well as looking at international geopolitics. I'm definitely in the loop of looking at how brands, public entities, public profile peeps have, PR statements put out. I'm definitely aware of the big names in PR and communications, whether it's politics or entertainment. I'm in the mix. Are you in the mix? Are you mixing it up? Otherwise, how are you going to connect with your audience? And so that's why being media literate, being literate of your area, having awareness of what the zeitgeist is saying is super important. I wanted this episode to be much more conversational. I'm glad I did, even though there was a unfortunate cut and interruption, but we got there. We got there. Thank you so much for tuning in for now 11 days of brand communications. We are halfway through, and wonderful things are coming up, but we're going to continue. We're going to look at your engagement system, your the way you communicate with your network, with your audiences. That's zone 5, looking at your content architecture, apply it to everything we've been covering. That's tomorrow, and then the day after we're looking at your North Star, your value compass, keeping that the center of it always. And then zone 7, your reflexivity, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the bricklayer mindset. And then The last 7 days will be a surprise, but still very much within the same style of the first 14 days. So it's wonderful to have you here, and I'll see you tomorrow.